jdelacruz on the beat.
What's good? Break it down. My name is Nico Castro from Uncomfortably Fresh, Underground Flow, Killafornia, San Diego. I have a lot of families, I got a lot of crews. But today, we're gonna be learning the fundamentals that I've used that are my keys, get it? My keys to power moves and freezes. All right, let's go. The simplicity of this exercise, I learned it by one of my crewmates and one of my mentors. His name's B-Boy Peter Pearl Harbor from Uncomfortably Fresh. When I was 16 years old and I was trying to learn air flares, we found this square. I'm gonna explain further in this square on how that led me to power moves and the type of freezes and the level of freezes and longevity of freezes that I use today. It's gonna look like this. We're gonna start with 4 sides, and in these 4 sides, we're gonna address a couple different things, but I'll show you. We're gonna start up here. You can start on your dominant hand, the arm that you're most comfortable with, and we're basically gonna simulate the swing of an air flare, and we're gonna simulate the same height that your hips need to be for air flares, swipes, and most power moves. So as something that seems pretty simple of just moving your weight from one side to the next and moving your feet, you'll see it actually gives you a lot of bonuses and gives you a lot of opportunities to explore the height of your body and gain 2 things, and those 2 pillars are body awareness and self-awareness. Self-awareness on the creative side we'll tap into a little bit later, but body awareness, we're gonna see every place that our weight's gonna be distributed. So we're gonna start here on our strong arm. If you're one of those people that do power moves in one direction and your freezes go on the opposite, that's totally fine. In the long term, grand scheme of breaking, it's a lifestyle, so you might as well learn both sides. So I'm gonna start with my strong side and I'm gonna prop up into what we're gonna call either our base or our home for this exercise. So I'm gonna start up here with my right arm, and I got my butt. I don't want it to sag low. I want it to keep it high the whole time. You're gonna see this bridge that I have, and when it comes to weight distribution for this exercise, I'm not gonna lean too far forward, not too far back. We wanna be right in the middle. And this is even more important, even though I know that there's a lot of different styles of air flares. Some people do air flares with their arms high, some people do their air flares going across their chest. It's great to learn both, but in this case, I'll show you the way that I develop my power moves and my freezes, and that's by going across the chest, yeah? So in terms of posture, how I mentioned we're gonna face that way, I just wanna really stress and emphasize how important your form is. So if I were to face this way, the height that I want my hips up is of course at max, and I'm not gonna lean too far forward, not too far back. But the way that I can kind of gauge where I'm at the right space is if, while my hips are up high, I'm completely on top of that arm, is if I can look straight down and my opposite arm, it dangles completely across my chest. It's not up here, not down here. Because if you can imagine, I'm gonna go on so many tangents throughout this video, but this is important. When you're throwing your air flare, say across the chest and you're building that foundation, if you're throwing it completely down below, unless you've already got the move and you're looking at different variations, then that's gonna work out. But we wanna stay going from wall to wall, from wall to wall. It'll make more sense later, but just make sure you're going completely across your chest and across your wingspan and just a little more. That's how far we're gonna shoot our air flares or our swipes. Yeah? If you're a beginner, this video is applicable for you. If you're advanced, I guarantee you that this is gonna be helpful to gaining so many more power moves and so many more freezes. But okay, back to the actual move. We're gonna start from up here. I'm making sure that my arm is hanging directly above my chest, and I'm going to throw. And once I get to that other side, I'm gonna utilize my hips and the height of my hips, basically your butt muscles, to help me get across. And if you're strict about breathing, you might want to implement that breath at that push. And make sure by the time you catch, it is symmetrical to the way you started. When I say symmetrical, everything that I stressed about having that additional arm not hang over your head, not down below, but hanging across your chest, that's exactly how you have to land there too. So if I'm gonna go from this side, here I'm at base, hips are at max. I'm looking above that right arm. And when I'm ready, I'm gonna use my entire core, pull me over here. Same exact thing, my arm's not landing up here, it's not landing down there. So this is part one of many parts to this. So from here, we're gonna bring our left leg, this is as if you were going clockwise. Your left leg, it's gonna replace where that hand was previously. There, and now we're facing another wall. So we have all fours down here. My core's still in the middle. It's not too far forward, not too far back. It's just right here in the middle. So I'm very, very mobile and I have a lot of opportunity here. One of the other great things that you got to really stress and emphasize in terms of body awareness is knowing what it feels like to look down at one arm, look down at that leg, and see how much weight can maneuver from both sides. And that's a huge part about scaling your freezes and getting a lot more combinations in the future. So we just moved this left leg to that corner. Now we're gonna move the right leg to this corner. And here we're almost back at that same base, but one of the things that we need to do is that we need to turn out and put our hips back. Notice how my hand even reset too? This is an important part. So we went from wall to wall, replace that gap where that last hand was with your foot, open again, and make sure you reset to the beginning. And that's just part one of getting the right height for swipes and getting the right height for air flares. So if your butt is sagging at any moment of this, it's gonna compromise your form for your swipe and it's gonna compromise your form for your air flares. And same thing for learning freezes. If you're dropping from high and getting low, you wanna make sure that your hips are high the whole time. That you have to make sure that you're above those arms the whole time. So I'll do that, all those four sides, multiple times. You can breathe throughout the whole thing. Make sure your breath is incorporated. I'm gonna breathe out or exhale on the throw. I'm going across my entire wingspan in 3, 2, 1. Now we're over here. Same thing, it's symmetrical as if I just started. But now we have a gap in that corner. Let's replace, replace. Now we gotta reset so we can do it again. This leg comes across and we just fulfilled that square. Let's go 2 more times, the same thing. Throw in 3, 2, 1, throw. Nice, and then from here, that left leg is gonna go down to that corner again, just replace it. And then same thing, we have to reset to the beginning, go back to that base. We're here, and then open. Make sure that throw is going completely across the chest. Take it slow, this is a very long-term thing. And then from here, I'm looking straight down, reset, and then open, reset again, and we're back where we started. I'll do this one last time. Follow if you want. We're going to throw. I'm back, it's symmetrical. That left leg's gonna go down there. Now right leg's gonna go up in this corner, and you're gonna open, nice. And from here, last time, we're gonna throw, and then reset this down, boom, same thing, and open up. So we just learned the 4 sides of this swipe exercise. That's gonna give us more keys to, that has provided me my keys. There you go, get it, my key, puns in this tutorial. It gave me my keys to all my freezes and a lot of my power move combos. And thankfully, just going off tangent, I started in a space similar to this. So there's no excuse for any space restrictions, any floor restrictions, as long as you keep in mind your self-awareness, your body awareness. I guess I'll tap into the self-awareness portion for this next part. We're going to upgrade this swipe exercise, and we're gonna add more of a swipe to it, right? If you don't know how to swipe, I think you can find plenty of swipe tutorials online, and you can come back to this video and we're going to really dissect how we're going to improve that swipe exercise from wall to wall to wall to wall, all the way to implementing either power or implementing tricks and blow-ups into the whole mix of it. We're going to throw across, and then from here, normally we'd replace, but we're gonna change it up. Your power leg, since this is going in the direction of clockwise, if you go counterclockwise, just switch all the words and go the other way. But it's definitely possible. My power leg, my right leg, for clockwise people, we're going to shift our weight over that catching hand, and now we have this area. We have an opportunity to swing. At first, it's gonna be really hard to balance, especially if it's your first time, but it just takes time. Take your time, breathe through it, and process what it feels like to distribute your weight over that catching arm. Try to comprehend and process what it feels like to distribute that weight onto your opposite leg, which has great importance for power moves later. And for people that are struggling to get the second air flare or get the third air flare, learning what that opposite leg does is extremely important. And through this exercise, this can help you gauge that. So, say we started from the throw. We caught. We're gonna distribute our weight over this leg and over this hand, but it's mostly towards the hand and the core. My right leg is gonna swing over right here. I'm not on the side of my shoe, I'm not on my heel, I'm just here on like my pinky toe, my ring finger toe, and the middle toe. So I'm just over here and the ball's on my feet. With my weight distributed, we're gonna go swing this leg and kind of like, I think people in the tricking scene, they call them machines. I've heard them called universals, so many different names across the world, but it's all one language, you've seen this. We're gonna start from this side with our legs here, and we're gonna end up on that opposite wall. So before we were going facing every single wall, but now we're gonna go from wall to wall. Yeah, so just keep that in mind for your spatial awareness. So we just caught, and we're here. We're gonna swing this leg and end up here. Yeah, that's a whole nother foundational move within breaking, within capoeira, within tricking, and that's this. Some people call them monkeys, some people call them machines, but you heard the tangent that I went on earlier. But we're gonna go from wall to wall. Make sure your butt and the height of your butt is up the entire time. That foundation of going from wall to wall to wall and stressing how high your butt has to be, some people say your hips, is so important. If it's low, it's gonna compromise everything. What not to do is to throw. You can see my butt's low and you're rushing through it and you end up here. Having that amount of height or lack of height is not gonna allow you to go from freeze to freeze to freeze and transition back to power and go back to freeze. So we wanna make sure that everything is up high. Okay, so we're here. We're gonna throw, bring your dominant power leg over, and we're gonna end up at that wall in that reset position. You're gonna swing, and you're gonna end up here. One of the other things to be wary of is not to go too high, as if you're gonna go into a handstand or rotating handstand or 1990. For now, and this is just the exercise, when that time comes when you're working on combos or calibrating different sequences of moves that are upside down, yeah, that's appropriate, but just for this case and this exercise, just keep it at that height. So we're gonna throw again, swing it over, and we're gonna swing around. I'm gonna use this power leg to guide me, my hips to keep my height up, and I'm also gonna use my left leg at the end to help me open up. And we're here. That next portion, let's run it again. You're gonna swing, and you're gonna bring that power leg over again, and from here we're gonna swing across, and you open on this side. I'll do it one more time. We're gonna throw, we're gonna bring it over, and we're gonna swing across, and we're gonna open up. And that's that second part of the swipe exercise. The next portion is gonna be us comboing in and out of power, or comboing into different freezes and going back into that. So you can already imagine doing those exercises. One, it's already tiring enough if you're a beginner to intermediate, maybe early advanced, but it's super important that you have the self-awareness and the body awareness. Body awareness, that's referring to knowing how much weight to distribute over this hand, how much control you need to monitor in your core, how much weight you need to distribute to both of your legs or even that part of your feet, right? And self-awareness, this is the fun part. We're moving on to the next portion of this video. And self-awareness, that refers to more of the creative self, the things that you like to do in terms of breaking or the things you like to do in terms of movement art. So with this movement art thing, whether you're into power moves or you're into footwork even, or you're into freezes, having this level of body awareness and understanding of weight distribution, now we can start thinking about the moves we want to combo in and out of. So, keeping in mind we have this throw that simulates swipes, we can go from this exercise into swipes. If we like air flares, we can go from this exercise into air flares, right? Or even without the exercise, because you have that foundation, if you want to go from swipes, you have the same throw that you've been doing in this exercise for so long that you can throw it into air flares, right? Or if you want to go swipe exercise, into air flare, into flare, back into the exercise, you can. So I'll use that as an example, and then I'll show you what it's like into freezes, and then I think we can cut it from there. So this is more of a demonstration of the opportunities you have utilizing this exercise. So I'm going to start over here on my throw. I'm going to go air flare. I'll do the swipe exercise into an air flare and then back into the opening. And I'm here. So let's run that one more time. Swing it over. And I know for some beginners and intermediates, they're like, well, Nico, what the fuck? Why would you even do that? But in this case, that's demonstrating how high you can take this. Cool. So that demonstrates where we can go in terms of navigating from this swipe exercise into an air flare and back to the swipe exercise. It's the same exact throw that you would do if you're doing swipes. So for example, here's the swipe exercise into swipes and back to the opening. An air flare and back to
jdelacruz on the beat.
So we went from swipe exercise into swipes. Now let's go into an air flare. Cool. And that kind of showcases how this will train you to implement the same throw, whether it's swipes or whether it's air flares. And then a lot of your moves and your foundation become more consistent and you can learn more and you can do different combinations. Same thing with freezes. We can start integrating freezes into power, back into freezes and back and forth. So we can go from, let's say, the swipe exercise into a swipe, into a baby freeze, and we'll repeat the same thing.
jdelacruz on the beat. jdelacruz on the beat.
Just to recap on the things that we addressed, we talked about everything from how a power move exercise like this swipe exercise can give you the keys to comboing more power or better controlling your power, implementing freezes, and integrating both of them into one sequence. The more of this body awareness stuff, whether it's learning how to implement your breath on the push and making sure that when you're pulling, you're inhaling, or even body weight distribution, or thinking about how long it takes, or thinking about the process of distributing your weight and all those things, that's going to give you an opportunity in terms of self-awareness in comboing the things that you like. Those things that you like are either power moves or freezes or different combinations or different footwork. The moment that you can just mesh all of those things together. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Break It Down. My name is Nico Castro. I hope I helped you or brought some level of value in terms of your power move and your breaking and your style and your footwork and your freeze journey through this. I wish you all blessings and I wish you success and happiness, and I wish so much blessings, wealth, and success to this channel, Break It Down. Shout out to Mikey77. Peace.
Break it down.